Hey, Humberto, how's it going?
Hi, Peter. How are you? I'm fine.
I'm also doing good. Thanks for joining today.
Thanks.
Well, let's give it a sec. I think one more person's joining. Let me actually just check the list here.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, yeah, hey, how are you?
Good. Oh, hey, Umar. You're Umar from Snap, correct?
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I don't know the format of like these typically.
Yeah,
But
most of these are pretty informal, except for the ones that following an OPA release. Then we'll do a showcase of new features. But all the ones in between are just super informal. So community members can come and ask questions.
mhm.
So yeah, so Umberto is here first. So I'll let him ask his questions first, and then you and I can chat, Umar.
Okay, sounds good. Sorry.
No, all good. Cool. So Umberto, what questions do you have for today?
Okay, Peter, we are using OPA in your journey to authorize microservices and to do or to make API security in your company. And we have a question about using OPA Lib to build an Lambda authorizer on API gateway, on
Wait,
AWS
what
API
kind of
gateway.
authorizer?
A Lambda authorizer
Lambda
to use
authorizer. Okay.
it with API gateway. We use AWS in our public cloud, and we work on this. We can In the past, we built a Lambda authorizer with OPA, but we have some questions. For example, it's better to use the SDK approach or to build from scratch using the package and the lib. We have this question.
Okay, can you repeat that last part? Is it better to use the SDK approach, or what was the second part?
Or to use the OpenLib and build all the things for on your own.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Yeah. I have not. I've played with Lambda before. I have not fully set up like a Lambda authorizer in production. I think that the SDK is probably going to be a simpler approach unless you have very custom logic that you want fine-grained control of to build from scratch. I think that question might be easier to answer if I knew like a bit more about your deployment, what you guys are trying to secure, what's actually sitting behind the API gateway, what kind of data you guys are working with. I think there's a lot of
Mhm.
potential like data points there that could affect the decision one way or another. So so yeah, why don't you give me a little bit more detail on what you're securing with this Lambda authorizer?
Okay. Um, we are starting validating JSON Web Tokens. All APIs must be authenticated, and we have four authorization servers in our company, and uh, we write some policies to validate these four JWT tokens. We start with this, but um, this is not limited to this. We can do anything else about authorization in this point. But the first case is to validate JSON Web Tokens. And we have we need to do some work to guarantee the performance of the APIs. And so we think that SDK brought a lot of things that we can use in this first moment. I don't know.
Okay, yeah, it sounds like your first use case is pretty simple then. I would probably start with the SDKs, and then if you guys have something like you're trying to pass very specific data like through the authorizer or something that makes this too complicated, then perhaps building from scratch would be necessary. But it sounds like for what you guys are doing in the beginning, it sounds pretty simple. I think the SDKs will be fine.
Okay, okay. One more question. When we configuring OPA with the config file, we saw in documentation that we can point a service to download the bundles, the policy bundles.
Sorry, you said you can point to what?
A service.
A server.
No, a service.
Services. Sorry.
Yes,
services. Got
service.
it.
yeah.
Okay.
We point a service. In your case, is S3. Our bundle server is S3. But we could use a file system too to load a bundle from file system in using the original config file.
Is that a question or a statement?
Oh yeah, yes. Can we use the file system to load a bundle via config file? Maybe using scheme file column //.
If you're loading it directly from the file system, I think it might be, yeah, like I don't think that's like it has to be served from somewhere. It might be easier. So do you want to load it from the file system because the data is dynamic? Like, are you able to just bundle that data since it's already on the file system? Can you bundle that data with the policy and then upload it to OPA?
No. We would like to load from file system because the latency related to download from S3. Maybe loading from file system is more faster than from network.
Yeah, for sure. And how much data are we talking about?
Oh no, in the first time we have just policies in the bundle. We don't have data in the first time. We have
Gotcha.
a bundle of policies that validate the JWT. And
right,
we put this bundle in a directory in file system of Lambda and config the Lambda to load from file system.
Got it. Then I think what would probably be easier then is, yeah, to just use like the bundle API and to just like load it directly onto OPA. Have you seen? Yeah. Well, let me grab the docs. One sec.
Okay. And I saw this option with file scheme from reading the source code, the open source code. I didn't see this in documentation, but in source code I see this option using
you see what in
scheme.
Using the file schema. Can you point that out to me? Like, because I'm thinking that it's easier to just use like the OPA API to just upload the bundle directly to it, and then so you'll be pushing the bundle instead of pulling it from S3. But yeah, so let's see here.
I can copy the link later and send to you.
Yeah, if you could do that.
You can see in source code.
Yeah, if you could do that, if you can send it to me on Slack, then
Yeah.
we can look at it there together.
Okay. Okay.
Cool. Awesome.
It's
And
it.
then go ahead.
Oh, I'm done with my questions. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Alberto. Umar, how's it going?
Hey, so basically I actually had like set this up when I thought I'd be like I'd be closer to actually needing this information. So I don't know if I will, so I haven't been able to investigate as much right before this because it got pushed to a later time. But essentially the problem I was seeing, or I just wanted like some input into to get your thoughts on is like, how does it, like, if there's any strategies to like vertical scaling with OPA, right? So in that sense, I mean, like, you know, when you have to load in, I guess like a lot of user data or something, right? So I guess like I think in the docs there's some ways of like loading in some data at a time, right? Like fragmenting the data and loading in some data at a time. But in general, just like, do you have any recommendations? Have you seen people use this for like large scale, large scale systems other than where there's a lot of user data involved, or a lot of yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It does. And so there are some people, or there are some companies that are using OPA for with like large data sets. And so that's kind of why we recently implemented disk storage, so that you can put all that information directly on the disk.
I saw that.
And so that helps out with just like memory consumption. There's still some work to be done there. It's not like it's released, but we're still working on optimizations for it. And then so you're talking about lots of data, not a giant policies, right? Like that's kind of where your bottleneck is.
Yeah, lots of data. I guess the giant policies part is not too much of an issue now, but it yeah, do you have any advice on that as well? Because it's I'm just thinking about it in terms of like so the thing is like we already have like you probably already know, do you know Ashwin, right? Like,
only via email.
Yeah, so we already have like this usage of OPA for internal services, and just wanted to I just wanted to really like see the limits of like for other use cases or other things, basically, right? So I'm just kind of trying to see that. But like, yeah, one of the things is like the user data, but like so yeah, if I don't see an exact, or like right now the policies being an issue, but if
and we're like basically every release we're releasing new optimizations. We just hired a new guy who's just like working at like the compiler level, and just like, so every release he's releasing like major optimization improvements. So if there's something that you see that's not performing with a large data set, or not performing well with a large data set, or you think is just like not handling the information you're giving to it very well, let us know. Because then like we can add that, we can just add that to the list of things for us to optimize. But right now, it is like on the policy side for sure, it's pretty performant. There's like a few weird edge cases that we are ironing out, but for the most part, like it is very performant. So yeah, so if you come across something, just let us know. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think one of the issues I saw, or like, I guess that's like a more of our system kind of issue, but it was more like, I guess we'd have to just delivering like a larger data set or like policy bundle to Kubernetes, right? Because usually you have to do like that was like a bit of an issue, but I think that's more of an because we usually end up using like I guess like I'm gonna talk about this in the talk, but I'm just thinking like what I should talk about or what I can't. But like yeah, anyways, but yeah, right now we use like config maps, but like I was thinking like that's a limiting factor right now. It's just I was thinking of like other ways I could do that, but that's our system thing. But the other one is I guess I saw like where you can you load in like a little bit data at a time, right?
Yeah.
For if you have like a lot of a bigger policy bundle.
Yeah,
basically.
and are you using Gatekeeper? Are you using kube management or something else?
Yeah, management.
Kube management. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think. Yeah, like the config map thing, I think is the best way if you're using kube management. They can get pretty big though. Yeah, yeah, I guess what's your biggest headache there with using the config maps? Is it just like the size of the config maps or just policy management, trying to like store all of them, or?
The limiting factor is like that, but I guess like the answer there is probably like splitting it up. Yeah, to be honest, like when I set this up, I didn't have answers to a lot of the questions, but then I found a lot of them in the documentation. But yeah, so I'm probably, yeah, I might set up another one later when I have like more specific questions. But yeah, I was wondering if you, I also didn't want to cancel last minute, so I was like, I'll just come and ask based on whatever.
Yeah, you're fine. Like these meetings are pretty easy going, and then people come or people don't come, and if no one shows up, then I just record stuff I record content and push it out to the community.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
So I'm here pretty much every week, and just like in this meeting if you want to show up or not.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, thanks for your time. I don't think I have anything else in particular, but yeah,
Cool.
thanks.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, reach out if you have any questions, or if you want like a more detailed response. Just send the question in Slack, or actually GitHub discussion. Send it if you want a detailed response. GitHub discussions is the best place, and then we can really dive into like the tech and talk about what's going on.
Yeah, I might do that. Okay, yeah, thanks. This is like, where is this sent? Like this recording, or like, just curious.
Oh yeah, it'll, so after this meeting, there's just like an automation, and then it just goes to YouTube, goes to the Open Policy Agent channel.
Yeah.
Okay. So it'll be there. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Cool. All right. Thanks, Umar. Thanks, Humberto. Yeah. Talk to you guys later.
See you.